morning, everyone. Welcome to the third workshop related to digitalization of the economy. For any of you who hasn't been here before, we are the Egyptian Center for Economic Studies. It is a research association that's a non-profit one. It has a strategic, clear approach that we need to achieve sustainable development, and it can only be achieved only through two things that to be combined together, which is economic growth and social justice. Any one of them without the other will not be able to achieve the objective. If we have economic growth, we will not be able to have anything to be done without the social justice. That means that there are certain individuals who benefit from the growth and they cannot see it. And if we have social justice and we don't have economic growth, it means that we will have poverty. Any activity or any research activity that takes us to this approach, we are following it. So we are a research center. We are different. We are not theoretical. We are policy oriented, and we have started 2 months ago with a group of workshops related to digitalization of economy, and we started to go deep in it because we found that there are lots of efforts and not all of them are in the right direction and they are scattered or fragmented. That's why we took with us two ministries. They are cooperating with us in which is the Ministry of Communication and Ministry of Planning. And after 6 months, we will give you an actual agenda for the investment opportunities in this sector and also all the research fields that we should focus on. When we do workshops or conferences and talk in general, we go general and then finish everything at the general level. But when we focus on certain topics, we can go deeper and go into details and know what we need. So in the first workshop, we talked about the process of the topic itself and the difference between automation and digitalization, because there is a great difference between them. And in the second time, we talked about the experience of countries. And now today, we talk in this one, we talk about other horizontal topics, which is specifically in the first part, we will talk about information, because without information, there will be no digitization. And if there is information, how can we get this information and how to protect them? So we pose questions, and they are very clear. What are the government initiatives in this field specifically? What does the government is doing? So we will get the government to tell us what it is doing, or anyone who is closer to the government, and then we'll get someone from outside the government to tell us whether this is right or wrong, or there is something missing, because we need to compare between the initiatives that's going on and the ideal that should be done and the gap, and what should be done and who should be doing it, because we have to produce a report after each workshop, and this will all make the agenda to be done. So I am really happy. When we sent you the agenda, we have wrote to you about, and it indicates a representative from the Ministry of Communication. So the one who is represented, we have Dr. Sherif Hashem. He is the consultant or the advisor of the national authority, because he said that I am not a government person, I am an advisor. Dr. Amr Talat says that you are the one from the government. That's why we and he is also the head of the group of protection of children on the internet, and he's in charge of the OECD in the team related to security, and he is also the executive director of ETIDA. So you are also the deputy executive director of ETIDA, and he is also a former member of the government advisors of the United Nations. So you are part of the government, and he also has a PhD in industrial engineering from Bordeaux University in the USA. So we are really happy to have you today. And on my left, there is Dr. Ehab Ali, who is the founding member of SAPSA Institute, and he was also the security engineer of institutions. He has held many positions in many companies like Serco UK, Cisco, UMEA, and all many companies related to information, and he is also in charge of designing networks, and he has a BSc of engineering from Helwan University. So now we will start with Dr. Sherif. So the government has their own computers and they brought it with them. So so you have 15 minutes. Your presentation will be 15 minutes. Good morning. I am happy to be with you today and thank Dr. Abla for the generous invitation, and thanks Dr. Ahab also. My name is Sherif Hashem. I am the advisor to the National Center for Regulation of Communication. I am also, in the meantime, I am also the head of the Center for Cyber Security, and I am a professor in the Faculty of Engineering. And as regards the cyber and security and the cyber security and cyber risks, and this is a term used by the UN. It is cyber security, and this is different from information security. The cyber security, the concept started. People started to talk about it 20 years ago, or maybe less, a little bit less, when the equipment related to the internet started to be widespread and working in the different sectors, which away from communication, like electricity, banking, and government sectors. So it started to be a main system, a part of a system for all the services provided by the governments to the citizens, and also it started to be as part of our life as citizens, like the social media. So the whole system without the content, this is the system without the content. This is what we mean by cyber security. How to protect it, how to prevent any breach, how to protect it from viruses. So let's look at the cyber risks that we have seen during the past 15 to 20 years. There was a group of risks. The first one is the attacks related that can hinder the services. And without going into technical details, maybe there will be a computer that's related to a network. It could be an internal network or an internet-related network. It has a certain path of information, or certain services are required, and they started to have a lot of services required, or a lot of. So if this equipment was related to the ATM, nobody will be able to use the ATM, and if it manages a metro station, and nobody will be able to control it, and if it manages an electricity plant, that means no, it will be disconnected. So this was like some sort of science fiction, but now we can see that in some of the actual incidents that happened, it was documented. How could this happen? And let's see how we in Egypt are ready for this and what we have done. So the part of the story is the privacy and special or private information and private data, and maybe this is the only intersection that we will talk about it here. The most important thing of cyber risks is how to damage the infrastructure, because we talk about control centers in certain networks, like in banking, in electricity, in government services, and in communication, and these are the main four sectors that are prone to such kind of attacks. Maybe the big attacks, most important of which happened in 2007. There was a small country called Estonia. It has 1.3 million inhabitants. They were using information technology, and they make a big leap since the mid 90s till the mid 2000 years 2000. It is a very cold country, and it is in West Europe, and it was subject to an attack because of this kind of statue. That was the reason. He was the hero of the Second World War, and this statue was moved from a square in the middle of the city to another area, and there is some sort of a minority did not like this moving this statue. That's why they started this attack on Estonia, and this is what is called the cyber war, that will stop or halt any utility. And until now, after 12 years of this incident, there is no certain evidence who were behind it. Is it another country or some groups? But the most important thing that the attack should stop and the government should resume its work. So, and also there are many other attacks that was shown, like against any shops or banks, and also nuclear reactors in Iran. And these are not related to the internet, because no one will go the atomic reactor to the internet. When there is a virus, will go and it will do this. It will make the reading of the wrong readings on the nuclear reactor, so it may lead to a crisis or a catastrophe. Also, Stuxnet, until now, officially nobody knows what's behind it, but professionally we know who are the countries behind it, and this is the first virus that's an industry strength virus, and it was the first time to be used this way, and it has achieved a result that hasn't been achieved by an Air Force attack. So the problem that happened after Stuxnet, that many of the groups said that it's a good virus, because while it's being developed, it only cost $500,000 to be developed or to be created. So it's not like just an Air Force attack. It will not cost like an Air Force attack. So it became something easy for a group, a terrorist group or an organization, to use this kind of virus, or other countries can use it. So now there came to be a race or a competition for countries to be able to own such a. It has been taken that was the first time for me to hear about terabytes, and it's a 1000 giga, because so it was the reason was the delay of the launch of the aeroplane, and the delay in the design for a long time. I'm using this model because we should not know that no one is beyond this attack or penetration. So entities are divided into two things. Some people know that they have been attacked or they have been penetrated, people and some entities know already that they have been penetrated, but still do not know. So all of us are under the attack. So, but to what level, and what level of protection, and what kind of resilience that we can do, or what kind of plans that we can do in order to reduce the possibility of penetration, and if it happens, how we can minimize the risk, and if the damage happens, we have to reoperate the system. It's not a compliment. If I say that I cannot be penetrated or cannot be attacked, that means it's a crisis, because we have to put an emergency plan. We have to appoint people. We have to make systems and plans. If I know that I am not prone to any attack. So as we talk about cybersecurity with any institution, there's a problem that sometimes there is a denial, and sometimes there is like some sort of confusion or fear. So if you want to go back to the Middle Ages, it's okay, you can go, but you have to live in the Middle Ages, because all of us, we are here, we are using vehicles that has motors or engines, whether it's even a bus or vehicles, because nobody comes with a cart, for example. We have never heard that there are two horses that they have hit each other and make an incident or an accident. So nobody is using it now. So it's very important. If we think that evading technology will solve the problem, it's not the solution then. If we have seen an accident that happened, an incident like Sony, that where all the information has been leaked, and it has created a lot of problems. So they were about to announce a war uh, against Northern Korea, because they have prevented internet from North Korea. There was a virus in 2017, WannaCry, and it's for like ciphering the data. This virus happened in 150 governments or states, and it has caused from $4 to $8 billion losses. It happened in advanced countries or developed countries like England, and hospitals were unable to provide medical services because of the data or the files of the citizens were ciphered at that time. And also a company like Yahoo, they have stolen 3 billion records for the account of Yahoo. Yahoo is not a small company, it's a technology company. And we have seen also in Egypt and Arab countries, and we have seen the, there were hackers on the match of between Egypt and Algeria, and it happens that 10 uh, that tens of the sites of government have been attacked, and also in the year 2011. And what happened after the revolution of January 2011, that there were some attacks from anonymous team, and none of them has nothing to do with the government, because there was a head of a communication company said a certain comment that did not people did not like it. That's why they did some attacks uh, to stop this company from operation, and also for other security rating company, or because an employee there was able to he wanted to make a revenge against the company, so that he sold the data of some of the clients. So the idea, the 4 or 5 minutes left for me, we have started some steps 15 years ago, whether in the Ministry of Communication or the communication sector, to deal with this file. From our experience in the International Association for Communication, we should have a legislative framework in the constitution. On the Egyptian constitution, we have Article 31 that talks about that cyber security is part of the national security of Egypt, and we need now to talk about laws. And then we have the recent law was issued about how to combat information technology crimes, and 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 we have also a legal framework, or the technical framework. We have established a center for the emergency, that's part of the communication sector, and this has been established 10 years ago. And this kind of centers was done at the level of governments, so that in case of emergency there will be a team who will be able to deal with the problems. But within a few months of the start of this center, it went into a lot of issues or legal cases with the banking sector, because it deals only with vital sectors and helps such kind of institutions confidentially in order to overcome any attacks that happen or any problems. So the International Association of Communication ranks Egypt at 14 among 193 countries, and it is where it and the and this kind of this center prepares a lot of reports. And for the last 2 minutes that we have in the cabinet, when we started, especially in 2012, Aramco company in Saudi Arabia was subject to an attack where 30,000 computers was prone to attack. So, and it has been damaged, and it will not only affect Saudi Arabia, but it will affect the international economy. So, in order to have this virus to affect this company, it is something really crucial. And a lot of stock changes in the Gulf sectors have been also affected, and also the oil sector in or the gas sector in Qatar. That's why we wanted to establish a supreme sector for cybersecurity. And after 3 years of all this discussion, we started to have this center in order to put a national strategy for cybersecurity, which has been issued in the year 2017. And as I said, that this part of the constitution which talks about the cybersecurity, which it is a major part of the national security and the economic security. So because the government sector and the communication sector and health and media, and also all the official sites of the government has to be protected. And also for the cybersecurity, there should be partnership between the private sector, the government sector, and also research institutions that are non-profit, just like the Egyptian Center for Economic Study, because now they are partners, and those partners are responsible for this, because there should be also a political support at the highest level. Otherwise we will not be able to do any work, because when you work with an institution, and if they tell you that cybersecurity is it important or not, you should not waste your time with them, because cybersecurity today, in the year 2019, the losses that can be expected for any cyber crimes and cybersecurity, the cost will be $2 trillion. At least 1 trillion of them will be a result of 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 theft of data, and how to the misuse of such kind of data. And we have a lot of expenses. It was 110 billion dollars last year, and this year it will be more, because they are now trying to readapt the institutions in order to protect themselves. And now we have the Egyptian strategy for protection is very important. It is on the internet in Arabic and in English, and we have started the first phase, which is the programs in order to complete the legislative framework. And there should be centers for response to emergencies and also to all the risks related to cybersecurity, because we are establishing now 15 centers currently. And we have to talk about also programs to to protect the digital ID of the citizens, and also how to have human calibers, which is the most important thing in the protection system. It is more important than equipment, than purchase of equipment, because human calibers is very important. So we have the strategic framework and the social support, and also having human calibers, and also research and scientific research and development is very important. It's not a luxury. We cannot have such a system without having any researches that comes from abroad. So we have researches here that are published in Egypt, and we have people working in technology. There should always be a national plan and a lot of institutions to join such a system. So community awareness is very important. It's not just to tell what is cybersecurity and make people fear. There should be a certain, any executive director of a company, he should know that there are risks, and when there is a request for him to have a certain budget or have training to do this, he can, because we cannot just design the system and then protect it. We have to 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 protect it while it is being designed. Otherwise, the cost will be very high. So I thank you very much.